Happy Wednesday. How you doing today? Hope you're having a good day today. Are you awake? Stock market was rather quiet today, but we'll cover all of that here today. This is a quick stock market update show that we do for customers. It's called The Closing Beat. We also do it for the general public here. If you're happy to join us or welcome to join us, ask questions, I'm happy to help. That's what I was trying to say there. We're also, we got a class tomorrow, really good class coming up. We're going to talk about options. We do a class every week for our customers. It's private just for them. If you want to check it out, we have our own little private, like Netflix of finance sort of thing. It'll be live in the dojo. This is the dojo where we've got all the previous classes in there. You can sort by basics. If you're an advanced person, you can do that. You get some support classes in there. You can kind of sort by what you're trying to look for there. So tomorrow we'll do our first class, a part of a series on options. We'll help out people that are trying to figure out what in the world these things are and how they work. I have the world's easiest explanation for you. I won't take much of your time. You grab a pen, you can draw it out just like me. You'll never forget this, by the way. So very, very cool class coming up tomorrow. And if you're in the dojo and we happen to go live, it just pops up. It does it automatically, so you don't have to log in anywhere or do anything. You can just join us there. And that'll be tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. I'll send out an invite just so you guys know what's going on. We're also playing a game. It's called Guess the Dow. You go to jazzwealth.com/guess the Dow. Tell me where you think the Dow is going to close next week. If you're the closest without going over, we'll send you a $100 gift card. Art was our winner this week, so a $100 gift card is on the way to, Art. That's his name. So we'll announce the winner again on Friday. Every Friday we announce the winner. If you're one of our customers, we'll even credit your account if you win. So happy to do that as well. Let's talk about the stock markets here. You got the Dow. Oops. There you go. You got the Dow higher, well, it was flat. Basically nothing happened today. So very boring, sleepy day. Dow flat. S&P, let's call that flat, was up a couple points. NASDAQ lost 24 points. All in all, very quiet. Let's take a look and see what we got here. We're above the sort of resistance area, sitting at all-time highs or very close to all-time highs. Really, the excitement today for the S&P and the rest of the markets, you kind of have to go and look intraday. We don't do this often, but if you look intraday here, this is breaking down the market's performance every 5 minutes and showing you that performance. You see that big nastiness right there? Right at about 11:30, 11:40 or so. That's when the news came out that the Phase 1, the signing of the Phase 1 trade deal between Trump and Xi would not take place until December. And a lot of people instantly thought, oh no, something bad happened. That's it, the deal's off, right? And so the market started to sell off. And after a little bit, people realized, wait a minute, the event that they were supposed to sign in Chile was canceled, right? Because they got a lot of problems over there. And so they were just trying to find a new place to meet and when they're going to do this. And it's likely going to be the first week in December. So as that came to kind of people got to cool down a little bit and realize what was really going on, the markets basically settled back into their quiet, sort of limited range-bound days that we've been seeing here. Real low volatility. And so that's really the news out of the S&P. That was pretty much the excitement of the day. If you look at the Dow sitting here near all-time highs as well, just very quiet on the day. And the NASDAQ did pull back a little bit, but after hours it's already recovered almost all of those losses for the day. In Fed news, you have I tell you, every time the Fed presidents are out there talking or any Fed members are out there talking, bring it up because they've sort of had this nice pattern of telling you what they're going to do way ahead of time. And so they were out in droves again talking today. The Chicago Fed president said, hey, by the way, that 2% inflation target that we have, that's not fixed. We'd be okay if maybe it went to 2.5%. And so that gave the assumption there, okay, rates going to stay maybe a little bit lower longer than expected for those of you that want rates to go higher. So that's what happened there. You have two more Fed members speaking tomorrow throughout the day, and later after the market closes, you got one speaking in New York as well. So we'll keep you posted on that. In the S&P 500, you've got 2.5 stocks are currently overbought for every one stock that is oversold. What that tells you basically is they're starting to cool off. We were at 4.7 earlier in the week. Was it? No, Friday. I think it was Friday. No, Monday. 4.7. We've been dwindling down a little bit. Just telling you, it's just a quick way to look at the market and say, okay, a lot of these stocks that were overbought, they're starting to cool off just a little bit. Totally normal. I know a lot of you are looking for a pullback anyway, so I'm right there with you. I'll cheer it on, and we'll see what we get going forward. Let's look around some of the sectors. Semiconductors pulled back a little bit here today. They're one of the overbought areas there. Now, one of the stocks that sort of set the tone for that sector today was Microchip. Microchip missed on earnings, down 4% on the day. Sort of set the tone overall for the entire sector on the day. And so you had a lot of the semiconductor names just, they did well, right? They're just pulling back there. So that sector was one that sort of weighed on the markets a little bit. Financials tried to play tug of war and go the other direction. They had a good day today, up about 0.5%, getting, of course, overbought there as well. But people keep chasing the financials. You would look at healthcare, a little bit of a pullback over the last few days, and you got a tiny little bounce today. Not too bad there. The healthcare area was supported by CVS. CVS had a great day. Earnings came out 5.33% on the day. They beat on earnings, beat on revenue, and a lot of it was thanks to Aetna, their new insurance business that they just acquired there. Well, almost just acquired. It's been a bit, but so the stock was higher on the day, and that helped the healthcare stocks in general. You also had Humana in the mix as well. Humana did well, up 3.5%, just as a side note there. They beat on earnings, beat on revenue, raised their full year guidance, by the way. So that helped out that area on the day. If we look at the price of oil, down 1.4% today, stuck at this 200-day moving average. You just can't argue that 200-day moving average isn't some significance as to the day-to-day price movement for the price of oil. It is just stuck right there today, pulling back away from the 200-day. That hurt some of the oil stocks today. You had a few oil stocks make new lows as well. And so they just pulled back there in the price of oil. It's trying, little by little, working its way there. Moving on. You got retail, a little bit quiet of a day there, but remember, that was overbought. We've been talking about that. Just great 3 days up. It's hard to assume that that's going to continue. Sometimes they do, and it just runs away without you. But today, retail stocks started to pull back after a 3-day little run higher. You got transports broke to new highs, or I should say broke out of this wide and sloppy range. Today they took a bit of a break as well. It just wasn't anything exciting in that category to get people to go diving into, to continue to buy that. And remember, that's also up 3 days as well. You can see it there. So a little overbought in the short term. You got rates. So rates took a break. They've been sort of pushing higher, higher, and higher. Today they took a little bit of a break. Investors came back over there to try to buy this dip a little bit. So rates did drop just a little bit on the day, very, very little bit. If you're looking at the 30-year bond here, that's what we have on the chart. You can look at any of them, though. If you want to look at the short term, the 10-year, also a little bit of a bounce there. So rates took a bit of a pause from their recent rally there. No big deal. REITs and utilities, which had been sort of beaten up over the last couple of days, got a small bounce. REITs up about 0.5% on the day. Just people trying to pick the bottom initially. A little bit of that selling pressures dried up here in the short term. Very typical price movement for these categories. In utilities, same thing. Same comments, really. A little bit oversold. I would argue maybe not as much as the REITs, but just a little bit of people saying, okay, that's a discount, a little bit of toe dipping, as they used to say, by the bulls. And so that's what you have sector-wise there. Let's go over some individual stocks. Do you like Coty? Oops, did I type it right? There you go. Coty, makeup maker. They make lotions and potions and all that great stuff. I stole that from my friend Carolyn. Lotions and potions there. They did great today, up 13% on the day. Beat on earnings. Weaker revenues overall, but the guidance nice and strong. They're very positive going forward. So you got a nice day at 13% on that stock. It's a wild one on earnings. Capri, these are Michael Kors, it's one of the brands that they have there. Missed on earnings by 9 cents. Revenues were as expected. It was sort of a bland earnings announcement, really. So the stock really didn't move a whole lot. Initially lower, but not a big deal. CVS, we already mentioned, we happen to own this stock in one of our funds here. So a great day for CVS. Beat on earnings, stronger than revenues, and like I said, raised guidance. A lot of it had to do with Aetna. They were very happy with how Aetna's doing. Xerox, you might have noticed that one was in the news again. We just said the other day, how often do we talk about Xerox? It's just making its way back in the news. Up 3.5% on the day. They put out an offer to HP, which is ticker, not HP, it's HPQ when you type in a symbol there. Put out an offer to buy their printer and computer business there. And so after number crunching and everything, everybody pretty much figured it would be under $23 a share. After figuring that out, people just largely took their profits to start the day. Plus, it's not really like official, right? It was just a report. I don't know that there was a comment from them on what their plans were. Papa John's. Papa John's hit new 52-week highs there, up 7% on the day. They missed on earnings, but gave good guidance as expected, and the revenue was better than expected as well. So a lot of people pretty much confident that they've shaken off the whole unfortunate comments from old Papa John there now that he's gone. So that's that one. We covered Microchip already. We covered Hewlett-Packard, so we've got that down there. Match Group, these are the guys that have Match.com and Tinder and things. The stock was lower by 2.5% on the day. Lowered guidance, and they kind of hinted, not hinted, but they mentioned more competition. It's a little bit troublesome, and they got a $25 million charge off or something. I can't remember what that was for, but that hurt them initially, and the stock closed well off the lows. People buying that discount there on the matchmaking service site. I see Roku has reported, I have an alert that they reported. Did they? Let me see what we have here. Yeah, Roku reported, didn't they? Give me 1 second. I want to get this for you here. They lose 22 cents a share. Revenue beats, raise their guidance. Average revenue per user, $22.58. That's higher than expected. I'm just searching to see what the number was. What was expected? 2106 was the number. So I knew that was higher, but nice beat there. 32.3 million active users versus the 30.5 that we saw last quarter. So a nice uptick in the number of people using the Roku services there. Down 15% after hours. This trading at 119.76. It's going to be right around here. Oops, there you go. Right around there in terms of where it's looking like it's going to open tomorrow. Nice little gap down if you like the idea of getting into some Roku. I mean, it's just first glance here at the earnings there, but revenue per user up, active subscribers or active users up. I don't really catch anything too horrible there. Anyways, that's that one there. We'll go over a few other stocks here in just a moment, but you have 67.1% of the S&P above the 50-day moving average, holding tight right there. We were at 67.3 yesterday, so just a small downtick there. Yeah, 12 new 52-week highs today. I bet you could guess a few of them already. We've covered some of them. You're going to have Xerox, 52-week highs. Hewlett-Packard, 52-week highs there. What else do we have? Financials, Ameriprise. Yeah, there was a lot of financials, actually. Ameriprise, although not like rocket ship type things there. Ameriprise higher. Western Union, that was a rocket ship. That's an incredibly strong stock here. I can't believe how fast that one's moved. So that one's not bad. And then more of the asset managers. BlackRock, 1.5%. That's new highs for that one as well. And Northern Trust, there you go. NTRS, a little extended in the short term, but another 52-week high for that one. And then you have Qorvo again. Just poked up to highs, very extended. I mean, it's been a great run for Qorvo. Just that's all you have there. Two new lows. There's going to be energy and oil space. FANG, Diamondback Energy, they were lower. Missed on earnings, missed on revenue. Stock missed its support. It is trading down at $77. And Occidental Petroleum, we've mentioned a few times, it's just floating near these lows. Broke down 5.5% on the day. The CEO said today they're going to have to sell off more of their assets to pay down debt, and they're also going to start, they're going to continue to cut back their spending overall. It's a bit of a restructuring going on there. So that's that one. Our stats play, there you go. You got Fortinet. So it's got 4 more days to get back to this line here, a little bit extended. 51% of the time it falls 1.53%. Today was day 1. And it's got 4 more days to turn around and start pulling back. So we'll see what happens there. It gained 1.6% on the day. And again, a lot of these stats plays, they're not juicy in terms of like big moves, but they're fun to track. So I keep pointing them out to you there if you happen to like looking at these things. All right, tomorrow you got earnings from Discovery. You've got earnings from Dish, Johnson Controls, Nielsen, Ralph Lauren, Zoetis, I don't know how you say that. Booking Holdings and Disney. So we looked up a little bit of, oh, I forgot my spreadsheet. I was going to show you guys the sheet, how I pull all the data and stuff. I'll do it. I'll get it for you. But let's talk about Disney. So I know some of you mentioned Disney, so I thought we'd go over some of the stats on Disney. If you happen to want to play this one, they report earnings tomorrow after the close. Remember, last quarter, it's sort of disguised on the chart here. This is the last earnings announcement right there. It doesn't look horrible, but remember, last earnings report for Q2, they missed on earnings, missed on revenue. The stock fell 5%, right? So it's definitely, this can be a bit of a mover. So we looked at all the quarter 3 reports there. 10 of the last 17 Q3 earnings, they've missed on either earnings, revenue, or both, with an average gap down, where where is it at there? Missed on earnings, revenue, or both. It gaps lower, I'm sorry, 50% of the time, and it finishes the day lower 39% of the time. So the third quarter, not the best for them over the last 18 years. If you count all the quarters, been positive 46% of the time. So you don't even have really a 50-50 shot there. You got your pressure a little bit to the downside. We'll see. I think they got a lot of positive momentum in terms of what's coming down the pipeline. How that translates into stock performance is the big gamble, right? Who knows? They're spending a lot of money right now. We'll see how people digest that tomorrow. All right, you also have Booking Holdings. This is a wild one on earnings. I don't know if you've played this one. We haven't owned the stock. We've owned it numerous times in different ones of our funds there, but it was flat today. But 92% of the time they beat on earnings, 70% of the time they beat on revenue. 63% of the time, looking back since 2001, they are positive on in terms of the day's performance. So look, they're going to report earnings tomorrow after the close. We're talking about the day after. So we're really talking about Friday throughout the day. 63% of the time it is positive. Guidance is the key with Booking Holdings. I just have a little extra to offer here because I happen to we've like I said, we've owned this one and do own it, so we've got a lot in terms of research. The last 5 times they lowered guidance, the stock's fallen an average of 7.12%. So one other negative thing, if I get you ready for this, I hope it's a great earnings report, but the other thing is the third quarter is their roughest quarter in terms of lowering guidance. 41% of the time they lower guidance in the third quarter. The other quarters at 30% and 20%, 30%, 19%, and I forget what the other one was, but 41% of the time for Q3 they lower guidance. And when they lower guidance, the stock averages a decline of 7.12%. So just letting you know, if you have this one or you're playing along, don't overcommit. It can get pretty wild. This is a wild name to play along with. All right, a couple other things, and then I'll take your questions. Actually, just one other thing, and then we'll see what we got here. Boeing paying out $2.06 in dividends, IBM $1.62, Grainger Worldwide $1.44, Apple 77 cents, Macerich 75 cents, Constellation Brands 75 cents, Helmerich Payne, which is ticker symbol HP, 71 cents, SunTrust 56 cents, and Wells Fargo 51 cents. We own almost all of those names, so exciting. Got some dividends paying out to you guys that like your dividends there. I love it. Let's see what questions you have there, and I'll do my best to answer what I can. You were expecting a plunge on Roku of over 30%? Well, then you're disappointed. You were hoping for more. Occidental Petroleum, well, we covered that one. I mean, they just, now you know what the deal is. At least they're restructuring there and not going to be spending any money anywhere. So it's a tough one to assume that somehow that's going to magically turn the way around and tomorrow's going to be the bottom and everything's going to be great. It's a bit of a turnaround story there. Yeah, I'm going to go down a politics road for what happened last night. Not me. Cool. Tesla upgrades credit rating. My analyst calls 300%. Did they? Did I not look at Tesla today? Oh, Tesla had a good day. Yeah, 3% on the day. Since the earnings there, it's been holding up tight. Finally, some activity there. You've been waiting a while. Well, 4 or 5 days, really. Yep. I love it. I love it. Let me see here. Did we look at... oh, okay. No more. No problem. What do we got? You know you can't name exact funds, but like I said last night, if you're 22 years old, oh, yeah, should I go 100% stocks? Well, that depends on what you're shooting for. I always tell people invest for your goal. Don't invest for how people tell you to invest. What's your goal? What are you shooting for? You're 22. You barely have to try in order to probably hit a really good goal. New customer was 19 the other day, and we work up the numbers for every customer. And this customer was 19 years old, and it was like $1,600 a year they had to save to hit like $85,000 a year. That was what they wanted, and I'm like, holy cow, to be 19 again. So invest for your goal. Start with the goal. What do you want? What is it you're shooting for, and then go from there. Is Apple going to be the next Amazon stock? I have no idea. I know Apple's doing really well. There's a lot that they're working on, but I wouldn't know. Speaking of Amazon, they apparently the new Echo Buds have a secret little fitness tracking device in there, so maybe they could launch that product later. That was talked about a little bit today. I saw it on Bloomberg. Stock didn't really move a whole lot. Yep. Tandra, still waiting on that pullback. I'm with you. Yeah. I love the support there for Mr. Manfred. I'm assuming it's a Mr. Yeah. You like the idea of Twitter on the lows? I mean, it's awfully oversold in the short term. My sort of issue with it is when stocks get oversold very quickly, they tend to bounce quickly. Even if it's only a little bit, you tend to get a little bit of a bounce. Look at McDonald's, right? McDonald's sold off rather quickly. We've been talking about that one. You got a rapid sell-off and a couple rapid bounces. You see that. You see people trying to pick the bottom. That's all you want. You just want to know you're not the only person in there trying to pick off the bottom if this is your game, if this is the game that you play. So if you go back to Twitter, we're sitting near lows. You haven't had many people try to pick the bottom. That would make me want to sit back a little bit and go, okay, I don't need to pick the bottom. Let me see that other people find this as a value here, and then I'll come from that point of view. Yep. You bought a bunch of ETFs. They've been negative ever since. I mean, you just bought them, right? So, like, when you just get started, you bought the ETF stock, whatever it is, very close to where it's currently trading, right? And so as the first couple days go by, you haven't had a chance to lose a lot or gain a lot. If they've drifted a little lower, all right, you had a bad entry. You got in a little early. That won't be a problem in the long run, but that's something we have to caution people every now and then. You start investing and your goal is 30 years from now, but in the first week you see it drop and you go, oh, what did I do wrong? Nothing. It's totally okay. There will be times where you buy at the lows and you think you're God because you bought the lowest possible price and all of a sudden it takes off. You got to be willing to accept some of those, and it's going to happen a lot. Yep. The atmosphere at the end of the 2018, at the end of the correction, is that what you're asking there? That was the same thing. Rapid sell-off, rapid bounce, and a lengthy rapid bounce in this case, but you got a little bit overdone to the downside. People get excited and want to buy that there. I remember those days. Yep. You don't cover new IPOs till 200 days? I love it. You remembered that. But if possible, go over Pinterest stock and let us know the earnings were so horrible to judge. Yeah, we covered earnings on Pinterest yesterday. No, maybe 3 days ago when they reported earnings there. You got a different animal than some of the other, what did I say, grow fast and worry about profits later. A little bit of a different animal here. So I think they kind of got a little bit of the raw end of the deal. But you got slowing growth. And that's going to weigh when you have an economy where everybody just is almost begging for a recession, and somebody who's supposed to be a growth stock, rapid growth, you're paying a premium, starts to show slowing growth. That's the problem, right? You're going to see more and more of that. Look at Uber and Lyft and things like that. They just struggle with things like that. And that also makes it difficult with trying to trade these stocks inside the first 200 days. I've learned my lesson. What's a fair amount to have in a custodial account without the kid going financially crazy? If you fear that your child will go financially crazy, you may not even want to consider that type of account, because that happens. We've now been through the woods a little bit with some people, and there's just nothing you can do. So maybe don't start one of those accounts. I did a video on that of how you could maybe sneakily try different types of accounts without your child knowing and without the financial aid system figuring it out. But if you're already asking that question, you know what I mean? You might want to consider a different account. How do I still have a full head of hair? It's barely there, man. You notice how there's no light right here? I don't shine a light back there. The light's right there. I love it. Buy silver and go to the gym. I see. There's always going to be some silver and gold people out there. Is Uber in trouble? Well, I mean, everybody's analyst-wise, most people are pretty positive on the stock. If you buy their comment that they will be profitable in the coming years, then the answer is like, well, why am I buying it now, right? Start to show me that you're turning the corner, and even if you don't guess the bottom, that's okay, right? You're looking at these long-term investments. You don't have to guess the exact bottom there. I have a hard time saying that there's a sense of urgency to invest in Uber. And remember, their lockup period was done today. Is today Wednesday? Yeah, 1 billion shares, right? 90% of all the shares available became available today. You can see it. I mean, there's people selling. I don't know why, if you're an insider, you'd sell here. But look, what's the volume today? 131 million shares traded hands today, whereas maybe an average day is 16 million shares, right? Almost 10 times the average shares. And that's 131 million shares. Remember, there's a billion shares that could be available. I just assume that, if you're an insider and you haven't been able to sell, why would you sell down here? How scared are you? Yep. Morton, that is part of it. So when you look on our website, what you pay us, some of it goes to Folio, some of it goes to us. You don't pay more. But by law, we have to show that. And we had the choice to lump it together. And I said, no, I want people to know where things are going. So some of the total fee that you pay Jazz Wealth, we just pay Folio some of it. That's it. Well, Uber has no reason to be there's a bull. No reason to be negative there. Well, then maybe you like this discount. I love it. I actually can't say whether I'd buy or sell something. I can give guidance as to what other people are thinking. Get in a lot of trouble for that sort of thing. So nothing coming out of my mouth there. All right, I think I've covered everything I did, actually. Oh, Weight Watchers. Does anybody... you call them WW now. Weight Watchers down 15% on the day. Beat on earnings, weaker revenues, a little bit low on the subscriptions, it looks like. But that's it. All right, that's all I have to offer. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for playing along with us. We will be back tomorrow to do this all over again. And enjoy. See you later.
Hey, wait! Before you go watch one of our other great videos, have you had a chance to see our new FinTips videos? They focus on one topic at a time, covering investing, personal finance, and anything that can quickly help you with your dough. Best of all, we'll keep it real short, because we know time is money.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.